Well, the past 3 days we have really paid for the 70 and 75 degree days we had last week. We've been waking up to around 24 degrees and a high of the day of about 30 to 32 each of the last 3 days. And as you can see, there's a little bit of snow here. We ended up getting about an inch overnight a couple of days ago. And the cold weather has prevented me from doing any work on my shed here because my next step is to do some tuck pointing and a little bit of masonry work. I've shot grade all the way around, and I've got a corner here to set and then one on the opposite side because this corner of the building, or this edge of the building, I guess it would be the west end, is a little bit low. The east side is pretty level. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to set these couple of cornerstones and then do some tuck pointing on the inside. I've got some of that cleaned up to where I'm going to tie essentially the top 2 feet of wall together. For the most part, it's not bad, but the north wall needs some work before I can drill any anchor bolts into that to start a shed above. So for the day, that is going to be my scope of work. Tomorrow, maybe I'll be able to pull some string lines and set stones all the way across and have something level to start with. And then possibly Saturday, get back into doing some woodwork. I'd love to be able to do that, and so far I haven't been able to. I'll shut down for just a second and then I'll walk you around the inside and show you what it looks like. Now we'll go inside. So I've done some cleaning down to about 4 to 6 inches deep as I could get in with a pointing trowel here on the north side. And I'll repoint all of this to get it sort of tied back together. The west wall is going to need some work, but that can be done after I've got the building up. The east wall here, or the south wall, southeast, I guess this is the way it's oriented. Anyway, it has some pointing to be done, but again, most of that can wait until afterwards. That top layer I'll have to pull off in order to be able to get things leveled up. And then this last side, there are a few stones missing here that came out when we were doing our demolition and pulling things over. So I've got some stone work to do there too, and that'll probably happen tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to be a nice day. It's Thursday now, and Saturday we're supposed to get some rain again, so I may be shut down again for the weekend. Well, for setting this first stone, I need to bring it up about 5/8 of an inch, so I'll start out with some fairly dry mortar. Then I've got some pretty wide gaps to fill, pointing there, which the dry mortar will work well for too. Then when I get to some of the narrower gaps, I can use a pointing bag, and I'll set that other cornerstone. Here goes. Give that a shot. Oh my goodness, that's almost perfect right where it is. See how I'm lining up with the other corner? Looks pretty good. And some of these joints on this wall are so large I can pack it just by hand. Well, that's about it for the first batch that I have mixed. I think I'll mix the next one up a little bit wetter and maybe be able to use the grout bag and set that cornerstone. Well, here we go again. My mom always used to say that she got a tremendous grip strength from milking cows. And I imagine doing this long enough would do that to you too. My mom never lost her grip strength, though, all the way up to the time she passed away. The one thing she could do is grab hold of something. I've never been very good at that. I am with you on a Christmas afternoon where it's pretty chilly but sunny. I have, since my last recording, repaired a bunch of the stone mortar, actually replaced quite a bit of stone. I've done some tuck pointing in there to reinforce what's there, at least the top couple of feet. I made up a frame that fairly well fits it, and I've got some bracing on it that has it all squared up right now. I'm actually pretty impressed with how square this stone structure is. I wasn't expecting anything like that, but it is actually just dead on for square. I've shot grade using a laser level on all the corners, and they are all level. I've tried to do a leveling layer of mortar in between. There are a few spots that I've missed. But now I have drilled approximately every 4 feet. I tried to get a somewhat equal spacing, but I really concentrated more on getting anchors into some of the larger and harder stones. And these stones, some of them drilled much differently than others. Some were sandstone that were just like drilling into concrete, and there were others that were extremely hard. There were two, especially the one on the far corner and then one right behind me here, that I really had some difficulty with. In fact, on the one over here, I melted a percussion bit in trying to get it deep enough and never did succeed in that. I tried to drill everything to about a 7-inch depth, so there's about 5 inches anchored into the stone, and then the rest is up above. So what I'll do now is I've already drilled and cleaned out all the holes. I'll pull all the bolts. There's one that, because I didn't get mortar underneath it, that I'm going to have to put a nut top and bottom, which is going to have to be the first one that I set. And I'll be using epoxy to do all this. So I'll get started by, first of all, removing all the bolts. I'll leave 2 on the far end just to keep it from moving around. Here goes with the epoxy. I'll bring this up closer. I really like this material. It's an extremely hard and good anchoring epoxy. And as you can see, there's a mixing chamber here that the 2 parts of the epoxy, one part is white and the other part is black. And you know that you have a good mixture as it comes to the end and comes out gray. And typically, to start with, you'll get more of one than the other. So what I typically do is waste the first squeeze or so. There we are, ready to go. And the rest of these I can just go right through the 2x4 to get them. And I drilled a 5/8 hole to set a 1/2-inch diameter anchor. Well, assuming that it stays warm enough overnight, I should be able to snug these up tomorrow morning and get started on the floor, and I've been looking forward to that. The next couple of days are supposed to be up near 60 degrees, so I should have a couple of nice days to do it. I have my second official vacationer. My oldest son is coming from Colorado tomorrow night or Sunday, so I hope to see him, and I don't want to spend too much time working. My daughter and her family were just here last week, and it was I really appreciated seeing them. They were here for about 4 days, and I didn't do a whole lot in those 4 days. We did some sightseeing and being typical Arkansas tourists. So that's it for today. Have a good evening. Well, this wraps up another episode of Back to the Past with me here in northwestern Arkansas in the Ozark Mountains. I hope you've enjoyed the series. If you have, please give me the thumbs up below the screen to your left. And if you think I'm wasting my time doing this, I don't want to do it if no one's watching. Just give me the thumbs down. Feel free to do that too. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring that bell if you want to be notified of future publications. And I'm going to try to put these out on Sunday evenings, assuming that I've got something of interest to do that week. Until we meet again, have a good week.